Hello and welcome to Waylander's Wandering Week. It's that time of the week again, and we're going to go through the Sunday preview from Games Workshop. So without further ado, let's move right on over. So here we are, getting straight on into it, and we're going to begin with the Dawnbringers Book 4, The Mad King Rises. Both halves of the Twin-Tailed Crusade are battered and bruised after the battles across the Dawnbringer series, but nevertheless, they continue their endless march through Akshi and Gyron in their fourth chapter of this epic story. Unfortunately for these beleaguered Sigmarites and the hungry forces of death are prepared to welcome them with open arms. And moving straight on to those dead guys with the arms akimbo, we're looking at Ashuran Mortarch of Delusion, going by many names, the somber paladin of the Lord of Masks, the Summer King. Ashuran is the powerful epicenter of the flesh-eater delusion, a complex character who masks his bestial nature behind a suffocating illusion of chivalry. The Mortarch of Illusion is a hulking brute who casually carves through his foes as he leads his rancid ghouls to victory against the enemies of Nagash. And isn't that an amazing looking miniature? The hunched posture, the terrifying face, those huge shoulders, and lovely, lovely, I mean, I want to say it's hair and like a crest across the top of his head there, but kind of looks like feathers. So, feathers. Anyway, moving on, we're going to be looking at the Fangs of the Blood Queen. The Fang of Nulamia is the royal servant of Assuran's rival Neferata. Like her mistress, Sekar is a duplicitous schemer, bending the will of enemies and allies alike through subtle suggestion and powerful hypnosis. The Fangs of the Blood Queen is the first place you can get Sekar and her serpentine thrall, Uberoth, alongside 10 direwolves and 3 fell bats. So, yeah, I think the Sekar and Uberoth look pretty damn cool. And that is a very tall hat, young lady. Very tall hat, and I do like these direwolves. Would I have gone a little less skeletal and rotting? I don't know. It gives you those Thor Ragnarok Fenris vibes, which are kind of cool. I like it. I think I like it a lot. But moving on, we're going to look at the Battlezone Flesh Eater Courts, which will be coming in a standard and a limited edition, which is limited to just 300 copies. So you are going to be wanting to be on the website nice and early to get your place in the queue, or face giving far too much money to those horrible, nasty, evil scalpers on eBay. If you are a scalper, bite me, baby. But getting back to the book, we look at 27 war scrolls, pitch battle profiles for all your chivalric cannibals, a wealth of thematic enhancements, a path to glory rules, and a gallery painted by the heavy metal team. And who am I to judge? We're looking at Grand Justice Gormain with a horrible guts-made wig. Talk about wearing your guts on the outside. I mean, that's ridiculous, mate. What use is a royal court without a paragon of sound mind to pass judgment upon those who transgress against the will of the Summer King? Grand Justice Gormain delivers his sentences without a hint of clemency, whipping his minions into a frenzy of spit-flecked orations. And I can't get over that wig. That wig is literally made of guts. It's horrible. I love it. And because you can't have law without clergy, let's move on to the abhorrent cardinal. Blessed with arcane power after sipping from the carrying king's chalice, abhorrent cardinals are zealous clerics that spread the world of Sharon across the mortal realms. Their stupefying sermons can erode the sense of even the most stoic of warriors. And God, he's ugly. And again, I love it. I really wish that they'd brought back the vampire Count's armies along with the Tomb Kings for the old world. But, we can but hope that this will appear in the future. So I do quite like a Vampire Count's army. And of course, once you've been through the clergy and the court, who is going to greet you but the Royal Decapitator? The Royal Decapitators of the Carrion Court have but one job, and they do it very well indeed. Though pockmarked and rusted, their axes are more than up for lopping off heads for their vampiric lieges, a task which these grim executions pursue with unholy glee and a determined vigour. And really pasty looking skin. You need to get some sunshine, mate. And next up, we're going to be looking at a Varghulf Courtier. Big vampire beast thing. Varghulf Courtiers are the most foregone of all Usher-and servants, vampires transfigured into loping bestial forms. In their delusion, the Carrion Court views these vile creatures as blessed champions who emerge from their dank cloisters only when the battle is near. But the enemies of the flesh-eaters see their true chiropteran nature. Chiropteran. There's a word you don't see very often, or ever comes to that. I'm not going to tell you what it means. I'm going to let you look it up. Partly because I don't know what it means. Up next, we're looking at the Marrow-Scroll Herald, the realms of the Flesh-Eater Court, engaging in internal relations and diplomacy just like any other kingdoms. And the Marrow-Scroll Heralds are their esteemed envoys. There's a bloke you want knocking on the door with a peace treaty. Or a horde of dead blokes to eat your face off. They spread the glorious news of their benevolent liege across the mortal realms, leaving a trail of madness and destruction in their wake. And again, this guy is absolutely fantastic. I like the big open mouth. It's a bit, I don't know, for some reason, that face just reminds me of Roger the alien from Family Guy with the mouth open thing there. But there you go. I kind of think it's funny. Up next, we're looking at a bunch of Crypt Guard. The Crypt Guard are the sworn bodyguards of the opponents, armed with the finest weapons in their armories. Rusty, but fine. In their minds, these masterworks covered in filigree, but in reality they are rusted relics steeped in corpse juices. Even the shallowest cut from one of these foul blows can turn a brave warrior into a gibbering wreck. Yeah, that sounds like fun. This box builds 10 Crypt Guard with a choice of weapons and heads, plus options for a champion, standard bearer, and musician. I quite like the musician there. I imagine that the skin on his drum is, well, people skin. And, of course, we're looking at the standard bearer there, whose standard definitely has all the appearance of a flayed person. I'm guessing that these Crypt Guard are the Age of Sigmar version of what would have been Warhammer Fantasy Battle ghouls for the old Vampire Counts army. And I kind of like them. They're cool. They're funky. And again, bring back Vampire Counts for Warhammer the Old World, please, for the love of God. I'll stick some of these on square bases and rank them up in regiments. Next up, we're looking at a group of 3 Morbeg Knights. Morbeg Knights are a chivalric order whose shields and flags bear offal-strewn simulacra of traditional heraldry. Devoted to their abhorrent monarch, they crash into enemy ranks, ear-piercing howls from their night-shrieking steeds, which are skeletal bat things, sending foes into disarray as the carnage commences. This box builds 3 Morbeg Knights with a selection of interchangeable heads, 2 shields each, and the options for a champion, a standard bearer, and a musician again. And again, the standard bearer looks like his standard is made out of the flayed skin of some poor devil. I'm guessing that that's the champion there with the bone face on his Night Shrieker, and the musician, it must be the trumpet dude at the top. Because what else would a musician be but a trumpet dude? And of course, no release like this would be complete without its own dice set, with the Flesh Eater Court's dice containing 16 sickly grey dice with red ink pips and feature the Flesh Eater's Court faction icon on the 6th face. 16 dice. How much do you think those will be, boys and girls? I'm going to go for about 20 quid because they're famously expensive for this kind of thing. Next up, though, we are looking at Necromunda with the Iron Head Squat Prospectors champion with mining laser. And what a mining laser that is. And again, a fine miniature. I'm sorry I can't get into squats. I like to get excited about this kind of stuff, and it is a nice paint job, and it is kind of cool if that's your thing. But I'm sorry, I just really can't get into squats. This one, of course, is Forge World resin and will count as a single pose expert level kit, because resin is famously finicky for gluing together. And our store anniversary miniatures for this year are Bracky of the Gilded Key, armed with a blazing latch axe, wearing finely crafted cloak of magma drop leather. Bracky of the Gilded Key is a stout exemplar of the Fire Slayers. Though unique in design, this miniature can be used to represent an auric rune smiter, a pious priest who can create tunnels that help his doughty allies strike at the heart of his enemy, and that is an absolutely fantastic miniature. I must look up when my local store's anniversary is so I can pop down and get me one of these. And of course, since we have an Age of Sigmar anniversary miniature, we've got to have a Warhammer 40,000 one as well, which is the Invocation of Elements, this beautiful town miniature. This ethereal are spiritual leaders of the town empire, and each embodies the wisdom of the unity of the greater good. With every action they undertake, clad in flowing robes and armed with an honour stave featuring the emblems of the four castes, or possibly even PlayStation button icons. Who knows? Maybe that is the greater good. Maybe the greater good is we should all swap our Xboxes for PlayStations. I'm not going to, but you know, you can. And yeah, I quite like this as well. I do like the paintwork on this. That red on the lower robe is particularly fine. Those highlights and shades are chef's kiss. But moving on, as we must, we're looking at White Dwarf 497, which is the February issue of White Dwarf. This month introduces rules for the Insidious Infiltrators, a new combat patrol for Tyranids, Warhammer 40,000, Flesh Eater Courts in the Cursed City, Space Marine Scouts for Kill Team, and on top of that there's a gorgeous photography for the Lumineth Realm Lords and the first battle reports for Warhammer the Old World. And yeah, it's White Dwarf, man. White Dwarf is definitely your place for, well, all the stuff that I don't tell you about and you can't get on the Warhammer community page. Finally, this week we're looking at an officially licensed product, which is the Orc Chopper Bottle Opener. What more can I say about this? This shiny silver metallic bottle opener. For those of you who are old enough to open a beer with, you can't go better than whopping your chopper out and slapping it on the table. Get your chopper out, slap it on the table, get your mates to use it to open their bottles of beer. What else can you do? So that's it for this week, and it was short but sweet with lots and lots of wonderful stuff there for the undead in Age of Sigmar, your lovely squat for Necromunda, and those two store anniversary miniatures, and of course a shiny chopper to open your beer bottles. What more can you ask for? For all your standard releases, which are the non-Games Workshop exclusives, such as the anniversary miniatures and the squat, please use your friendly neighborhood game store. They are absolutely fantastic places to shop. The store owners work so hard. I prefer to use Mighty Lancer Games down in sunny Bridlington by the sea, and if you use my QR code on screen or the link in the description down below, they will give you up to 20% off on all your Games Workshop RRP and discounts on many other products from many other wonderful product lines, such as Mantic Games, Star Wars, Shatterpoint, and all those great games out there. Don't just think that this hobby is Games Workshop. Games Workshop might be the biggest, but you know, there are other dogs out there who will appreciate your custom. Again, short but sweet this week, and as ever, I've been Waylander. You've been absolutely amazing. I love each and every one of your faces. I'll be back next week, and until then, goodbye.